Okay, I'm next on stage. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Flood. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Sekuro. My absolute pleasure, following on from Noel, to welcome you to SekuroKon 2023. So the first of our keynote presenters, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Sara Harkness, or Sharky to her friends, and she's one of those ladies who has an amazing story to tell. So despite facing significant adversity in being diagnosed with, and this is one of those actual life-threatening illnesses, not, oh, I've got a paper cut or a splinter, then despite being diagnosed with those life-threatening illnesses, Sara, or Sharky, has a story of resilience to tell, and she's going to share with you that now. Excuse me.
Hi everybody, I am Sharky, or Sara. Everyone calls me Sharky, so feel free. And yes, I am here really to share with you a really treacherous story, but it has a good ending because I'm obviously standing here today. And not just standing here today, but in heels, and I think that you'll see why that's a big deal. But I want to talk about resilience, and why resilience is becoming a hot topic is obviously what's happening in the world at the moment, but more so after the pandemic, have kind of all collectively got a little bit of PTSD. So I'd say resilience is something actually a bit of a superpower that we can tap into, and therefore in doing so we start to collectively create resilience. So what is resilience? I'm going to share with you why I'm qualified to talk about this in a second, but basically resilience to me is the ability to go through anything, and I mean anything. It could be I had a car crash, or it could be you break up with your partner, or it could be literally anything in your life. But the ability to be able to not only go through the process of dealing with that particular situation, but come out of it the other side, consciously deciding that you're going to use that for the betterment, or to learn, or to become who you are. And it is a conscious choice. Resilience is something that we all can choose to have. It's an innate quality in every single one of us. I'm no different to you. I've just happened to know a little bit about it. But ultimately, it is this ability to stand in the face of anything and do that bravely, with grace, and knowing who you are. And in doing so, you are actually able to face whatever happens. And that is a superpower. And if we start to bring that mindset into our organizations, share it with one another, we start to get a bit of a flow-on effect. I call it abundance in action, but basically it's when you get two things of the same frequency, or the two things with the same level of energy, you get an exponential output. So if we've got organizations that work together in alignment, or we've got ourselves working together in alignment, and we're both tackling something equally as committed to getting an outcome that's positive, then how much more likely are we to get a positive outcome? And you can apply this to anything. So maybe I'll share with you why I'm qualified to give you this lecture right now and get off my soapbox. So I'm a mum. I have 3 kids. I'm an entrepreneur. I worked for Salesforce for 10 years, Marketo, Dropbox, GitLab, and a few others. I ran my own consulting business. And then when my 3rd baby was born, his name is Rocket. I have a tattoo. When he was born, about 3 months later, I started getting really unwell. So I'd be feeding him a bottle, bent over his cot, stand up and totally pass out for no reason. And over the period of about 3 months, it got worse and worse. I had my eyes checked, I went through every possible diagnosis, and eventually they actually found my optic nerves were swollen. So this is the very beginning. I've got a 3-month-old and 2 other kids, and I'm getting told my optic nerves are swollen. That can indicate a brain tumour. Right, okay. So I went to every neuro, I went to all these different doctors. At the same time, I started getting more progressively challenging symptoms. My heart would race up to 220 for no reason. I just have these moments of neuro kind of lights or flashings and things like that. Long story short, by January of 2020, I'd had a shunt put into my brain. They drill a hole in the top of your head, and then, they do a whole lot of things. So that was the first brain surgery. Brain surgeries are notoriously challenging, and they can give you a whole lot of complications. I ended up with 3 more in the space of 3 years. In total, over 3.5 years, until October of last year, and really, I mean it, October last year was my last surgery. I had 26 other surgeries. So I've got something called autonomic dysreflexia. Basically, is caused by a spinal injury. But it's life-threatening, and most people get about 10 years after a diagnosis. In addition to that, I've also got intracranial hypertension and something called postural orthostatic tachycardia, but basically it's all of your nerves and anything to do with neurons processing. I have been in a coma. I obviously made it out. I have had a small stroke. And brain surgery is no joke. They shave your head. And if you ever had shame before, you certainly don't have any more after that. I missed Mother's Days, birthdays, and my doctors told me that I should probably write my will. They put me into a palliative program, and then on my last final surgery in October, as I was in recovery at St. Vinny's, I just decided, no, this is, am I allowed to swear? This is bullshit. I'm not doing this anymore. There has to be a better way. There must be somebody in the world that can sort this out. And at that stage, they hadn't given the final diagnosis of autonomic dysreflexia, but that ended up being the cause. I guess what that meant for me was that in October, I just decided consciously that I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to do this anymore. I did not want to have any more surgeries, and there must be a better way. And I'm not going to give up. I'm sorry. I'm not going to listen to what you say about my fate. I'm going to find whatever that is, and we know it to be resilience, but I'm going to find whatever that is, and I'm going to use it to get better. The reason why that's important, and the reason why I'm sharing that story, is not because I'm a victim, but I really feel like there's an opportunity for us to really dig in and find what that personal resilience is. Every one of us suffers. Every one of us has a hard time. We get to choose what we do with it, though. For me, I decided I'm going to use that story as an opportunity to tell it as many people as possible, and hopefully they decide that their suffering is okay and that they can do something with it too. But I think personal resilience is critical for us, especially in the macro environment that we're in at the moment. Resilience in ourselves flows into our organisations. So fostering that in our staff, fostering that in our cultures, fostering that in our people, process and our tech. But it starts here, and it starts with us. For me, it just started for me alone in a hospital bed, going, where are my people at? And I went and found my people. I went and found Peter Diamandis and Tony Robbins and Dr. Guillermo Navarrete, and I lost 40 kilos in 6 months. I threw away my cane and my walker, and here I am on stage talking to you now. And, sorry? In Jimmy's. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am no different to anyone in this room. No different. But the things that do affect us and stop us and stand in our way are mindset, reliance on others rather than reminding and remembering what we're capable of, and fostering that in everybody else around us. Tolerance, our belief system. Belief is a challenging one because obviously I've going through all of that, you cannot say that there's no something. Being in a coma and hearing everyone around you feeling completely alert in your mind consciously, you can't say that there's not something. I don't know if that was the other side or what, but for me, I came back to go, well, never waste a day. Never waste a day or a minute or a second. It's not always easy to do, you forget. But when you remember, holy hell, anything is possible. But external factors too, and the reliance on other people's opinions I may have started in the healing process to make my circle really small. I was careful whose advice I took. And I made sure I had lots of people around me so that when things got really hard, and it was not perfect. I mean, I met Obama this year and I went to Necker Island and I had all this incredible opportunity because I decided no stuffer, I'm going to just lean in, and I created possibility. But I still had hard days. I got divorced. Like nothing is impossible when you know what you're capable of. And you remember that and you take that into anything that you do. And as organizations, I think that culture that we create inside, down to the DNA of how we run a process or implement technology or work with our different departments and silos, these are all the things that if we start to bring to the conscious surface and implement and inject resilience within, then our people become self-sufficient and they're the ones starting to think, and you get these incredible outcomes. But we suffer. And technology is moving really fast. There's a lot of economic uncertainty. There's lots of regulatory changes. How do we keep up with Gen AI? And now we've got regulatory challenges that we've got to implement with AI as well, not to mention ethics. But resilience is going to be our secret ingredient in order to face any of it. And we face it with grace, and we face it with an attitude that there isn't anything we can't face. It just is a mindset shift. But ultimately, it comes because a leadership or when we get into survival mode as organizations, let's say, because our leaders are dysfunctional or our finances might be dysfunctional or there's cultural challenges or the technology is not supporting what we're trying to do, that kind of dysfunction is what creates disharmony within. And so if we start to look at ways we can create alignment in our organizations, that's going to change. And the only way to create alignment is by having resilience. Together we can face anything kind of attitude. And it's a very conscious decision. It's not just something that you do automatically. It's actually a decision to rock up and play. They say playing full out. Like, I'm going to play full out. I'm going to give this everything I've got. And that's the kind of cultures I want to create within organizations. And there's a blueprint for that. You have leaders doing that. You create communities that are excited about that. It's a bit of a movement. Whoops. And the positive workplace culture then becomes self-governing to some degree. You still need leadership, but you have a self-governing kind of community as an organisation, but where people hold each other accountable. And that's what I've created around me and my organisations, because I saw when I was getting better and getting through my challenges that community was the difference for me. The people around me that were reminding me, hang on, no, Sharky, you've got this. Are you kidding me? If anyone else in the world is going to bloody well deal with this shit, that's you, you know? And you're like, oh, damn it, I can't give up. You're right, it's not on brand. And it kind of is now. It's so much a part of who I have become. And I feel it necessary now to not ever consider any other option. It's indoctrinated now in me. And I think that within yourselves, look at where can I be more resilient? Where can I not defend myself or protect myself, but more lean into the opportunities that are in front of me with no fear, knowing I can handle it, even if I fail. And I failed. In the whole health journey, and I've been an entrepreneur and run businesses, and holy hell, I've failed so much. I'm floor, foot, mouth, head, all that's me. And I'm okay with it. Because my team sees that. We work together when we fail and we fix. We use it as learning opportunities. It's okay. We're human. And this expectation that we're not going to do that is totally unreasonable. It's completely unreasonable. And leaders that punish for that create toxic workplaces. So we've got to really create this culture where the people are the ones that doing the driving force. I'm seeing my time is almost up. So I think I've talked a little bit about building this, and I think perspective is one, but practicing and having a really specific process. So for me, I just get sunlight. I see the sun in the morning and I see the sun go down. I drink a lot of water. I don't eat sugar, and there's a whole lot of things that help me get better. But I tell you what, it wasn't any Western medicine. Sorry to the doctors in the room. It was mindset, it was diet, and it was really the resources that are free in the end. And I would like to say that a lot of it was a little bit of a miracle, but actually it came down to resilience. And it's a cultivation. It's something you practice every day. It's something you value and you look for in others, and you surround yourself with that community. Teams can hold each other up. I saw this really well done in the beginnings at Salesforce when I was there in 2008. And, as a human-centered workplace, they pride themselves on like the 1-1-1 model, where it actually was that we would spend more than 1% of our time. It was about 25%. We were doing a lot of charity work, but that became who we are, and we served our customers and we served our partners. It was being of service. And I think sometimes when we're thinking about needing to be resilient because we're in a situation where we might have had a breach or something negative has happened, we often go into survival mode. And my point here is stop. You don't have to do that. That is, I think it's the amygdala kicking in, and you really don't have to function from that level. Our organizations and our people can function from a much more calm, graceful, composed place, and that only comes from resilience. When we go, I have enough confidence to, we might be shit in the bed, but we are actually able to fix it and pivot and enable others to do that. And that is a level of superheroism, I think, that organizations can cultivate to get better outcomes. I know it has revenue outcomes. I've seen it for 20 years. But the human-centeredness of an organization is what transforms the ability to have impact. And the more you have impact, the more you actually perpetuate what you're trying to do. And if you all believe in that, then you're moving in the same direction, and you can kind of face whatever comes. And it's that adaptability. I'm going to just skip through because I'm running out of time. I just wanted to leave you with this, that success is not final, failure is not fatal, but it is the courage to continue that counts. The only difference for me is that I continued through many fires, many trials. But that's my story. And I think everybody has that ability to look at their own story and where they've done the same and bring that to the work that we do. And that humanness is what we all sign up for. It's why we go to work, I think. Yeah, money, but actually we're going to work every day because we want to connect with people and each other and ourselves. And look, abundance theory is, like I said, just this theory that I had, but what it does is unlocks your organization's superheroes. And so look for this light in everyone that you're working with too. Where is the people that are most tuned to being a beacon of resilience in your organization? Let them be the example. Let them be the superhero. Big them up, give them a platform, put them in positions where they can help lead others. And I think we don't often look for that. We're too busy on the task. But if we slow down a little bit and we create this resilience where we're not having to frantically scramble in survival mode, we actually unlock every single possible capability. And it is our people, our process, and the technology that underpins it. It's how our organization engine works. And then we create exponentials. So finally, I guess I wrote a book about this. It's called Guided by Giants. I encourage you to reach out to me on social if you would like, but basically, giants are created in ourselves. Like, we can be, anyone's a giant. Anybody can do what I did. Anyone can go through as much as I suffered. Anybody could do it if you just decided that that was the path. I think often we just stick with what we are programmed to do, but you can choose to embed resilience in your organizations and yourselves and be that example shining light. That's it. Feel free to connect with me. And thank you.